We continue with Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 151. We revealed a Rasul from within you to disclose the reality, reciting, teaching to you our verses, signs pertaining to our reality within the core of all existence, and purifying you and teaching you the book of the reality and the Sunnatullah, and wisdom, the system and mechanics of creation, and that which you do not know. So remember, dhikr, me, contemplate so that I will remember you, and be grateful to me, evaluate me, and do not deny me, do not deny that I comprise your essence, and the essence of the entire existence. O you who have believed, seek help through patience, endurance, that generates from your essence, and through salat, the observation resulting from you, turning towards your innermost essential reality, the names. Indeed, Allah is with the patient, with His name, Sabr. And do not say they are dead about those who were killed in the way of Allah, because they were believers and they strived for their faith. On the contrary, they are alive, though you lack the capacity to perceive it. And we will surely test you with objects of fear, hunger, diminution of wealth and lives of those who are dear to you, and the fruits of your labor. But give good tidings to the patient, those who refrain from reacting, and wait to see how things turn out. They are those who, when a calamity strikes them, say, "We are for Allah. We are a manifestation of Allah's names, and to Him we will return." We will eventually experience this reality. They are the ones upon whom are blessings. Salawat from the Rabb, the facilitation towards the realization of their innermost essential reality, and grace, the observation of the beautiful manifestations of the names. And it is they who have found the truth. Indeed, As-Safa and Al-Marwa are among the signs of Allah. They're sort of the equivalent to the Yakyan and Baz of the Solomonic temple mentioned in the Bible. So whoever visits the house, Kaaba, with the intention of performing Hajj or Umrah, there is nothing wrong with performing Tawaf between them, As-Safat and Al-Marwa. And whoever volunteers to do more in the name of good, indeed Allah is the Shakur, abundantly appreciative, and the Alim. After what we have clearly informed with the book, whoever conceals the signs and the means to reach the reality, they will be cursed by Allah, far from the reality of Allah, and cursed by all those who are capable of cursing, i.e., they will experience the consequences of falling separate from Allah, both internally and externally, except those among them who repent, admit and comprehend their mistake, and rigorously abstain from it, and those who correct themselves, abandon the wrongful environment, and those who speak the truth. I am the Tawwab and the Rahim. I accept repentance and enable the experience of favorable outcomes as a result of it. As for those who cover the truth, deny that the corporeal worlds and their very selves are the manifestations of the names of Allah, and who die upon this understanding, certainly upon them is the curse of Allah, the consequences of falling far from the reality of Allah, the curse of the angels, the consequences of falling far from the forces of the names comprising their essence, and the curse of the whole of humanity, the consequences of being veiled from the reality manifesting through others. They will forever live their consequences of these curses. Their suffering will never be lessened, nor will they be given respite to amend their wrongdoings. That which you have come to accept as your God is one, the one and only, the incalculable oneness, far beyond any concept of multiplicity. There is no deity God, only who, the Rahman, the Rahim, who has created everything from His grace and the qualities of his names. And by deity, God, they mean a separate functionary of a particular quality or something. So Tawheed puts all of divinity as one, or well, posits as would be the phrase. Undoubtedly, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, the states of consciousness and the body, the succession of night and day, the contrast of observing the inexistence of the worlds and how it takes on forms to appear existent, the ships that sail in the sea for the benefit of mankind, the individualized consciousness, swimming in the divine ocean of knowledge, how Allah sent down water from the heavens to bring the earth back to life after its death, revealing knowledge from the states of consciousness to manifest life from the body, which is unconscious of its reality, and how he disperses therein all animate beings, how all strength and power within all the organs in the body are formed with Allah, and in the directing of the winds, the recognition of the names in one's consciousness, and the clouds that are at disposal between the heaven and the earth, the initiation of bodily forces within one's consciousness, there are signs for those who think, for those who use their intellect. There are some who deify and worship things other than Allah, loving them with the love of Allah as though they are loving Allah. The believers, on the other hand, are conscious that their beloved is only Allah. They don't attribute existence to anything else. When those who, by denying the reality, do wrong to themselves, see the suffering they accrue as a result of this, they will realize that the only force active in the universe is the force of Allah, but alas, it will be too late. If only they could have realized this sooner. Allah is the Shadid al-Adab, the one who severely enforces the consequences to those who are persistent in the wrongdoing. When those who are followed see the suffering awaiting their followers, they will walk away and disown them. When the truth becomes apparent, the tie between them will be severed. The followers of things other than Allah will say, if only we were given a second chance to relive our lives so that we can disown those we followed, just as they have disowned us. Thus Allah will show the consequence of their doings with painful remorse. The internal burning that arises from their remorse will not cease. O mankind, eat from what is allowed and clean of the earth. Partake of things pertaining to the bodily dimension that will not veil you from your reality. Do not follow the steps of Satan. Do not act on the impulses from the second brain in your gut. Certainly he is an evident enemy. He, Satan, will only command you to think and do things that will strengthen your ego, to only live for the sake of unlawful bodily pleasures, and to make baseless judgments about the law without any knowledge. Later, we're going to run into a verse that points out that people should withhold belief and action until finding out whether it agrees with what God has revealed. Well, I mean, that's the highest state. When they are told, believe in what Allah has revealed, the knowledge that the names of Allah comprise your being and the entire existence, and the knowledge of Sunnatullah, they say, no, rather we follow that which our fathers followed, external deification. What if their fathers were misguided and failed to comprehend the reality? The state of those who deny the truth is like that of those who hear a calling, yet they do not understand what it means, for they are deaf in respect of their understanding, dumb, unable to voice the truth, and blind, unable to evaluate the obvious reality. They do not think. O believers, eat that which is pure and clean from that which we have provided for you, and be grateful to Allah. Evaluate this. If it is only Him you wish to serve, He has only forbidden to you dead animals, blood, the flesh of swine, and that which has been slaughtered in the name of things other than Allah. But if you are forced out of need, there is no sin upon you to eat of these without doing harm to yourself, without making lawful what is unlawful, and transgressing the boundaries. consuming more than necessary. Certainly Allah is the Ghafur and the Rahim. Those who conceal what has been revealed by the book, the knowledge of the reality and Sunnatullah, and sell it, their reality, for a small price, worldly values, fill their internal world with none other than fire, suffering. During doomsday, Allah will not speak to them, nor purify them, and they will have a tragic suffering. They are those who have bought misguidance, invested their beliefs in external deification, in exchange of Bilhuda, faith in their essential reality, the names of Allah, and suffering in exchange of forgiveness, resulting from faith in one's essence, the names, how resilient to fire they must be. Thus, Allah has revealed the knowledge of reality and the Sunnatullah, the way of God, in His knowledge, which He manifested as multiple universes, book, as the truth. Verily those who argue against the book in regards to this knowledge and formation have fallen far from the truth, turning your faces or your consciousness to the east or the west. The reality of existence or the knowledge of the mechanics of the system does not mean you are experiencing its reality. Al-Baqarah, to experience the reality. Al-Baqarah is to believe in Allah in accord with the meaning of the letter B, and to believe in the life to come, the angels, the unperceivable forces of the names of Allah, constituting existence, the book, the essence of existence, and the Sunnatullah, God's sanctioned tradition, the Anbiya, the exemplar prophets, and who give from their possessions with the love of Allah to the relatives. You could also say, despite loving it. Right? Orphans, those in need, travelers who are stranded, and the free slaves, and who perform salat, duly turn introspectively to Allah, and who unrequitedly share a portion of what Allah has bestowed to them, zakah, and who stay true to their word, and who are resistant in the face of calamity, ailment, and violence. Those are the devout and the protected ones. O believers, retribution, equally based process in cases of murder has been determined for you, the free for the one with freedom, the slave for the enslaved, and the female for the feminine one. If the murderer is partly remitted by the victim's brother or successor, then this should be adhered to and compensation be paid. This is an alleviation and grace from your Rabb. Whosoever transgresses his limits after this, he will have severe suffering. There is for you life and retribution, the intelligent ones who contemplate, so that you may be protected. When death approaches one of you, if a good wealth is going to be left, a bequest should be made to the parents or relatives. This is a duty upon those who wish to be protected. And whoever alters, does not comply with the bequest after hearing it, the fault is only upon the one who alters it. Certainly Allah is the Sami'a, the Alim, all-hearing, all-knowing. But if one fears a mistake or a deliberate aberration from the bequeather and mediates among the inheritors, there is no fault upon him. Most certainly Allah is the Ghafur, the Rahim. O believers, Siyam, fasting, the act of reducing corporeality to its lowest level and turning to one's essence, has been made decreed upon you, as it was decreed for those before you, that you may be protected. This is for a certain number of days, but whoever among you is ill or traveling, then they can make up for the days they couldn't experience fasting. Those whose health condition is not strong enough for fasting should feed someone in need for each day that they miss. As compensation, one who gives more than this will have greater benefit. Siyam, fasting, the act of reducing corporeality to its lowest level and turning to one's essence, is more beneficial for you than paying compensation if you only knew. And let us remember that if you become what's called severely dehydrated and it interferes with your prayer, but that, you should take care of, drinking enough water during the night, that you're not going to have that problem, and not relying on coffee. Don't think you're going to the bathroom enough. And, because if, and there's reason to interpret like the Sahaba and the Tabi'in and, such, that the caffeinated beverages are haram anyways. They count under khamr because they are an intoxicant. They're a minor one, but they are. And, you can't say because you're addicted to caffeine or nicotine and it's causes unpleasantness. When you break it, it's unpleasant to go through the withdrawals and all that other stuff. You can't say, oh, I'm hungry or thirsty. That's my health condition. It's like, no, you should be able to do it. And of course, fasting needs to be beyond just being hungry and thirsty. The Quran, which enables the realization of the truth and delineates the difference between the right and the wrong, has been revealed in the month of Ramadan. Whoever among you is present in this month should fast, experience the essence of fasting at every level, and whoever is ill or traveling can make up for the days that are missed. Who wants to facilitate experiencing your essential reality through fasting, not cause you hardship, by completing the required amount of days? Who wants you to feel and appreciate his akbariyah to the degree of your experience of the reality? So if my servants ask you of me, undoubtedly I am qarib, as close as the limits of one's understanding. Remember the verse, I am closer to you than your jugular vein. I respond to those who turn to me in prayer. So let them respond to me and believe in me so that they experience their maturation. It has been made permissible for you to unite with your wives on the nights preceding fasting. You are their garments and they are your garments, the most intimate person in one's worldly life. Allah knows that you have been unjust to yourselves by abstaining from sexual relations through the nights, and accepted your repentance and forgave you. So approach them in accord with Allah's decree. Eat and drink until the day begins, the break of twilight, then experience siyam, fasting, until the night. Do not approach your wives while you are in retreat in the masajid, mosques. These are the limitations Allah puts, so do not go near them. Thus, Allah explains His signs so that you may be protected. Do not consume the goods between you in a manner that goes against the truth, and do not deliberately run to the rulers to unjustly consume the goods of others, even though you know otherwise. They ask you about the phases of the moon, the lunar calendar. Say, these, determining the times of worship via the lunar calendar, are the measurements for the benefit of people and for Hajj. Experiencing the existence of the reality, al-Baqarah, is not to enter houses from the back door, the indirect route to the truth, but to enter from the front door, the direct and short way, in order to be of the protected ones. Protect yourselves from Allah so that you may be enlightened. And with those who fight to kill you, fight in the way of Allah. Defend your right to live. Do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like the transgressors. Kill them wherever you catch them in the cause of defending your right to live. Expel them from where they have expelled you. Fitna, provocation, is more severe a crime than killing a man. Do not fight near the Masjid al-Haram unless they fight you there. But if they try to kill you, then kill them. Such is the recompense of those who deny the truth. If they cease what they do, then indeed Allah is the Ghaffur and the Rahim. Fight them until the fitna, the pressure to make you give up, Your faith is lifted, and you are able to practice the religion of Allah as you like. If they cease pressuring and fighting, there is no hostility except against the wrongdoers. The sacred month of one is as the sacred month of another. In respecting this, fairness must be observed. So, whoever transgresses their boundaries during this period and attacks you, attack them back in the same proportion. Protect yourselves from Allah, and know well that Allah is with those who are protected. Give unrequitedly, fi sabilillah, in the way of Allah, to reach Allah, and do not destroy yourselves by being stingy, and do good. Certainly Allah loves the doers of good. Complete the Hajj and Umrah for Allah. If you are prevented from this, then make an offering, qurban, and do not shave your heads until your offering is slaughtered. And whoever among you is ill or has an affliction, preventing him from Hajj, should compensate by fasting, charity, or sacrifice. When you are in times of safety, when the affections are lifted, whoever wants to experience and benefit from Umrah until Hajj should offer a sacrifice that can afford with ease, and whoever cannot find such a sacrifice should fast 3 days during Hajj and 7 days after return, 10 days in total. This is for those whose family place of living is not in the area of Al-Masjid Al-Haram, and protect yourselves from disobeying Allah, and know well that Allah is severe in due retribution. Hajj is during well-known months. Whoever intends to undertake Hajj during those months should abstain from ill speech, inappropriate conduct and behavior, and from quarreling. Whatever good you do, Allah knows it. Take provisions, but indeed the best provision is taqwa, protecting yourself in the way of Allah from the inadequacies of your identity. O you of understanding and deep contemplation, protect yourselves from me, from my retribution, in case you do wrong. There is no blame upon you for seeking the bounty of your Rabb during the period of Hajj. Remember, dhikr, Allah, when you are collectively returning from Arafat. One of the mountains, well, a low mountain as part of the Mecca complex. Well, you know what I mean. It's part of the pilgrimage there. And remember, dhikr Allah at Mashar al-Haram, Muzdalifah. Remember, dhikr Him to the degree of your realization of your essential reality. For indeed, before this, you were among the astray. Then depart from the place where all the people depart, and ask forgiveness of Allah for your inadequacies. Certainly Allah is the Ghafur and the Rahim. And when you complete the rites of your Hajj, remember, dhikr Allah with a greater intensity than you did your fathers, out of custom among the people are some who say, Our Rabb, give us in this world. They have no share in the eternal life to come. And some say, Our Rabb, give us bounties, the experience of the beauties of the names in the world, and bounties, the beauties of the names in our essence. In the eternal life to come, protect us from the fire of falling into separation. They are the ones who will attain the results of what they have earned. Allah instantly puts into effect the consequences of one's actions. And remember Allah, say takbir, in the appointed days, the second, third, and fourth days of the Qurban Eid. There is no blame upon whoever completes tasks in 2 days and hastens to leave, and there is no blame upon whoever delays it. This is for the protected ones. Protect yourselves from Allah, where you will certainly live in the consequences of your actions, and know well that in the end you will most certainly be gathered unto Him. You will reside in a realm in which the absolute reality will become apparent. You will be evaluated by the qualities of the names that comprise your essence, and among the people there are some whose speech about the worldly life pleases you, and he holds Allah as witness to what is in his heart, yet he is the fiercest of your opponents. When he goes away, he runs to cause corruption on the earth, to destroy the produce and the lineage of the people. Allah does not like corruption. When it is said to him, Protect yourself from Allah, for you will be faced with the consequences of your deeds. His ego takes hold of him and drags him to wrongdoing. Hell will sort him out. What a wretched place and rest it is, and of the people there are some who sacrifice themselves, their constructed illusory identities, egos, so that Allah will be pleased with them, and Allah manifest as the Ra'uf from the essence of his servants. O you who have believed, enter the state of submission collectively, and do not follow the steps of Satan, the idea that you are only the body, for he's clearly your enemy. If, after you have been given this much clear proof, you still deviate, know well that Allah is the Aziz. He will subject you to the consequences of your deeds with his unchallengeable might, and the Hakim, the wise. Are they awaiting for Allah to come to them with angels in canopies of clouds and settle their matters? And to Allah all formations are returned. Ask the children of Israel how many clear signs we have given them. Whoever changes the favor of Allah after it has come to him should know well that Allah is just and severe in recompense, putting into effect the consequences of one's actions. Worldly life has been adorned and beautified for the disbelievers. Those who deny their inner reality turn to the fancy outer world. They ridicule the believers because of this, yet the protected believers will be above them on the day of resurrection. Allah gives provision, both limited sustenance for the corporeal life and infinite life sustenance pertaining to the realization of one's inner reality and its benefits, to whom he wills without account. Mankind was once a single community, then Allah revealed Anbiya, manifestations of the perfection of Nabuwah, the prophethood, from within them, as bearers of good news and as warners. He revealed to them the book, the knowledge of the reality, and sent it to law and truth, to judge between their disputes. Those to whom the book was given disagreed with it out of jealousy, even after clear truths had come to them, that Allah, by his will, bi'idnihi, the suitability of the names comprising their being, guided the believers to the truth about which the others disputed. Allah guides to a straight path, enables the realization of one's innermost essential reality, whom he wills. Or did you think you will enter paradise without being tried with the distressing trials of those before you? They were tried and shaken with such hardship and calamity that the Rasul and the believers with him exclaimed, "When will Allah's help come? Undoubtedly the help of Allah is near." They ask you what and to whom they should unrequitedly give in the way of Allah. Say, whatever good you give should be for parents, relatives, orphans, the needy, and travelers who are far from their homes. Whatever good you do, Allah, as the creator of your actions, with his names, is well aware. Fighting has been ordained for you, even though you despise it. Perhaps you dislike a thing that is good for you and like a thing that is bad for you. Allah knows, but you know not. They ask you about fighting in the sacred month, the month which fighting is prohibited. Well, the 4 sacred months are the 1st month, the 7th month, the 11th month, and the 12th month, which you find the Bible kind of agree with that too. And the month of observance, Ramadan, is the 9th month. Again, the fasting month in the Bible is the 9th month. And there's other examples I can bring up that, this stuff isn't new. Say fighting in that month is a grave matter for preventing people from the path of Allah, denying one's essence and being ungrateful to the Al-Masjid Al-Haram by preventing people from entering therein and expelling them is far graver in the sight of Allah. Fitna, provocation, is worse than killing. If they could, they would fight you until you renounce your faith, and whoever among you turns away from his religious understanding and dies as a denier of the truth. All his good deeds will become worthless, both in this world and the eternal life to come. Those are the inhabitants of fire, suffering, and will forever abide therein. Certainly those who believe and migrate and strive in the way of Allah look forward to Allah's grace. And Allah is the Ghafur and the Rahim. They ask you about intoxicants and gambling. Say, in both of them there is great harm and some benefit for the people, but their harm is greater than their benefit. They ask you about how much they should spend in Allah's way. Say, spend whatever is surplus to your needs. Thus Allah gives you clear signs so that you may reflect upon them, their reasons, contemplate upon this world and the eternal life to come. They ask you about orphans. Say, improving their welfare is best. If you are living together with them, they are your brothers. Allah knows the corrupter from the reformer. Had Allah willed, He could have put you in difficulty. Indeed, Allah is the Aziz and the Hakim, so the mighty, the wise. Do not marry dualist women who associate partners with the law until they believe. A believing slave woman is definitely better than a dualist woman who associates partners with the law, however pleasing she may seem to you. For beauty is not in the body, but in the sharing of faith. Nor give the believing women in marriage to dualist men who associate partners with Allah until they believe. A believing slave man is certainly better than a dualist man who associates partners with the law, however pleasing he may seem to you. Such people, dualist, call you to the fire, but Allah invites you, as much as the qualities of the names comprising your essence allow, to paradise and forgiveness. Allah makes clear His signs of the reality to people, so these truths, are remembered. They ask you about menstruation. Say, it is a difficult time. Do not have sexual relations with women until they are clean of bleeding, specifically defined as in the pelvic area, but and when they are cleansed, you can approach them from where Allah has ordained, and Allah loves those who turn from their wrongdoing and who repent much and cleanse themselves. Your women are your fields to bear children, so plant your fields as you like. Prepare yourselves for the future and protect yourselves from Allah, and know that you will meet Him. Become aware of and experience the reality of the names comprising your essence. Give good tidings to the believers. Now people would approach Prophet Muhammad asking about positions and all that sort of stuff. And he was always, at most it was, be careful and ask your spouse, right? Do not let the oaths you make in the name of Allah prevent you from doing good, seeking protection, and making peace between people. Allah is the Sami'a, the Alim. Allah will not hold you responsible for any oaths you make unknowingly, but He will hold you responsible for what is intended in your heart's consciousness. Allah is the Ghafur, the Halim. For those who swear not to approach their wives, there is a waiting period of 4 months. If they revert from their word, indeed Allah is the Ghafur, the Rahim. If they decide to divorce, undoubtedly Allah is the Sami'a, the Alim. He knows their intentions. Divorced women should wait for 3 menstrual cycles without getting married to discern whether they are pregnant or not. If they believe that Allah comprises their innermost essential reality and have faith in the life to come, they have no right to hide what Allah creates in their wombs. If their husbands want to reconcile this period, they are of higher priority than others. Just as wives have rights over their husbands, husbands also have rights over their wives, but the rights of men are 1 degree more, as the flow is from man to woman. Allah is the Aziz, the Hakim, the mighty, the wise. Divorce is twice. After this, it can either be resumed or permanently released free. It is not lawful for you to take back anything you have given your wives due to divorce, But if the wife and husband both find it difficult to observe the boundaries set by Allah, the wife has the right to request divorce by returning the things he has given her, and there is no blame upon her for doing this. These are the boundaries set by Allah, so do not transgress them. Whoever transgresses the limits will only do wrong to themselves. And after all this, if he divorces his wife again for the third time, then she is not lawful to him until after she has married another man. And if she gets divorced from the latter husband, there is no blame upon her and her former husband to remarry each other if they believe they can keep to the boundaries of marriage within the limits of Allah. These are the limits of Allah which He makes clear to people who know Allah. And let us remember that in Islam, the part of the meaning of marriage in some Western languages, not just context, is that you intend it to be a permanent endeavor, until death. That's sort of implied in the word. So therefore, the remarriage, the marriage to someone else isn't, just to get that out of the way. That's not a permissible thing. And either person who intends it to be such, this is a cursed thing according to the narrations. The man they call in to consummate that marriage, to have that marriage that they intended to be temporary. Basically, everybody involved, the two people in the marriage and the people who set it up. And once you divorce your wives and they reach the end of the 3 months waiting period, either retain them with kindness or release them by good means. Do not keep them attached to yourselves to cause them misery, and whoever does so will only do wrong to himself. Now, and there's people who make a living off of that shameful business. Do not take the creeds of Allah lightly, and remember the favor of Allah upon you and the book and wisdom He revealed to you to advise you based on the letter B. Protect yourself from Allah and know well that Allah, as the essence of everything in respect of the dimension of the names, is aware of everything. When you divorce your wives and they reach the end of the waiting period, do not prevent them from getting remarried if they agree among themselves on mutual terms. This is an advice upon those who believe in Allah and life to come. This is better, clean from humanly conditionings, and pure for you. Allah knows, and you know not. Divorced mothers can breastfeed their children for 2 whole years if the fathers wish to complete the nursing period. During this time, the father is reasonable for their permission and clothing, according to custom. No one will be subject to more than his capacity, and no mother or father should be subject to harm because of their child. The same applies for the heir. If they mutually agree to wean the child before the end of the 2 years, there is no blame upon them. If you wish to have your children nursed by a wet nurse, there is no blame upon you, so long as you pay the required according to what is customary. Protect yourselves from Allah, and know well that He, as the creator of all that you do, is the basir, the observing. Now, nowadays we have this customary where, if this is your means, but if you're like the head of a company and you're paying people just the minimum you can and taking an unfair share to make yourself more and more wealthy, that's not right. So that sort of paying of wet nurses and other what people would call medical aid is, if any of you die and leave widows, the widows should wait for 4 months and 10 days before they remarry. And of course, we're referring to lunar months. After this period, there is no blame upon them for what they do according to custom, getting married someone else. Allah, as the former of your actions, is the Habir, I think they mean Kabir, aware. There is no blame upon you if you hint a proposal of marriage to divorced or widowed women during their waiting period, or conceal it in your heart. Allah knows what you will be inclined toward them, but do not enter into any hidden arrangements with them outside of what is customary, nor bond in marriage with them until the end of the waiting period. Know that Allah knows what is in your consciousness, so heed Him. Know that Allah is the Ghafur, the Halim. There is no blame upon you if you divorce women when you have not yet slept with them, or specified a dowry for them, but provide them, your ex-wives, with benefits according to your ability. Those with greater financial means should provide according to their capacity. Those with lesser financial means should provide according to custom to the best of his ability. This is an obligation upon the doers of good. If you divorce them after specifying a dowry, but before you sleep with them, give them half the specified dowry, unless they are those in whose hand lies the marriage contract, forgoes it. To give them the full amount is closer of the dowry is closer to taqwa, protecting yourself in the way of Allah from the inadequacies of your identity. A lot of people like to pretend they're taqiyas regarding the situation. It's not the same thing as, what people are going to say about that. There's evidence that some of the Yazidi groups consider it that way, but the Yazidi aren't Muslim. Do not forget to treat each other with grace. Certainly Allah is the Basir, evaluates all that you do. Maintain salat, prayer, turning to Allah, with care. In particular, the middle salat, Asr prayer, the constant experience of this in one's consciousness, live in full submission in the way of Allah. Now, some people say that the third prayer, Fajr, would be the middle prayer. Some people would say be Sahar because it's the middle of the day. Sun declines for as little as 5 minutes after the high noon. And then it's the Sahar prayer. And some people take this further and, in full submission in the way of Allah. So it's the inner prayer. If you fear danger, then you can perform salat while on foot or riding. When you are in safety, remember dhikr Allah according to the teachings of the one who has taught you that which you did not know. Contemplate upon the manifestations of the qualities of his names on worldly forms. Those who die and leave widows should make a bequest for them of 1 year's maintenance without them having to leave their homes. But if they choose to leave their homes, then you will not be held responsible for them, as they have used their rights. Allah is the Aziz, the Hakim. Divorced women have the right to receive provision according to custom. This is an obligation upon those with taqwa. Thus, Allah explains the laws of existence for you, so that you may use your reason. Did you not see the thousands who abandoned their homes out of fear of death? Allah said to them, die, and then brought them back to life. Undoubtedly, Allah is bountiful to mankind, but most of them do not appreciate the bounty that is provided. Fight in the way of Allah, and know well that Allah is the Sami'a and the Alim, the all-hearing, the all-knowing. Who will want to lend Allah a goodly loan and receive it back in manifold? It is Allah who constricts contraction and restriction. With ego, the qabd. This is the quality that constricts. But ego, they don't mean it as the psychological part. They mean, ego as in like the arrogant person or the person who's merely self-serving or something. By they, I mean, the translators. And grants relief, opens, expands, spreads with the names. The Basit, to him you be returned. Did you not see the group from the children of Israel after the time of Moses? They had said to their Nabi, exemplar prophet, disclose for us a king, leader, and we will fight in the way of Allah. The Nabi asked, what if war is prescribed for you? Nabi also means who awakens the inner fruit. And you refrain from fighting. They said, why shouldn't we fight in the way of Allah, especially when we have been driven out of our homes and from our children? But when the war was prescribed upon them, except for a few of them, they turned away from fighting. Allah, as the one who created them with his names, is Alim, all-knowing, of the wrongdoers. Their Nabi, newsbringer, said to them, indeed, Allah has disclosed Talut as a king for you. They said, how can he have sovereignty over us when we are worthier of sovereignty than he, and he has no abundance of wealth? Their Nabi, exemplar prophet, said, certainly Allah has chosen him over you and increased him in depth of knowledge and body. Allah gives the administration of his sovereignty to whom he wills. Allah is the Wasi'ah, the Alim, all-encompassing and the wise. Their Nabi, newsbringer, told them, certainly a sign of his sovereignty is that a coffin, heart, universal consciousness will come to you in which there will be happiness, inner peace and tranquility, that Sakina, Shekinah in Aramaic, Hebrew, from your Rabb, and relics, knowledge, left behind by the family of Moses and Aaron, the angel, the forces of the names in your essence, or bring it to you. Certainly there is a clear sign in this if you are of the believers. When Talut set out with his army, he said to his soldiers, indeed Allah will test you with a river. Whoever drinks from it is not of me. Whoever does not drink from it is of me, except those who take but a handful from it. Except a few of them, they all drank from it when he and those with him crossed over to the other side of the river. They said, we have no strength left to fight Goliath and his soldiers. A Jalut is, the big strong people they would have fight the initial skirmishes for shows before the main battles. Those who knew with certainty from their essence, due to their faith, that they will meet Allah said, many times a small group has overcome a large group with the permission of Allah. Allah is with those who persevere. When they faced Goliath and his army, they prayed, our Rabb, give us the force of perseverance. Make firm our feet, do not let us slip, and give us the power of victory over the deniers. Then, with the permission of Allah, the names comprising their essence, they defeated them. David killed Goliath, and Allah gave him, David, sovereignty and wisdom, and taught him what he willed, programmed him with the names from his essence. If Allah had not repelled some by means of others, earth would have become corrupt, unlivable. But the bounty of Allah is upon the worlds. These are the signs of Allah, which we tell you in truth. You are indeed one of the revealed Rasul. I forget what the plural is, but messenger prophets. Of those Rasuls, we endow some more highly than others. There are some to whom Allah spoke, and some he raised in degree, and we gave clear proofs to Jesus, the son of Mary, and supported him with the pure spirit, divine forces. If Allah had willed, those succeeding them would not have killed each other after clear proofs reached them. But they differed in opinion. Some believed and some denied. If Allah had willed, they would not have killed each other. But Allah does as He wills. God's not always going to stop people from making bad decisions, but He gives them the opportunity not to. O believers, give unrequitedly out of your faith from what we have provided to you, before there comes a day in which there is no exchange, no friendship, and no intercession. The deniers of the reality, they are the wrongdoers. They wrong themselves. Now, any requirements of charity, or anything that's actually even good for charity, it's based on what you have, not everybody gives the same. Allah is Who. There is no God, deity, only Who. The Hayy and the Qayyum, the sole source of life, and the one who forms all things in His knowledge, with the meanings of His names, the one with whom everything subsists. Neither drowsiness overtakes Him, separation from the worlds, even for a single instant, nor sleep, leaving creation to its own accord and withdrawing to His self. To Him belongs everything in the heavens and on earth, the dimensions of knowledge and acts. Who can intercede in His sight except by the permission of the forces that manifest from the names in one's essence? He knows the dimensions in which they live and the dimension they are unable to perceive. Nothing of His knowledge can be grasped if He does not will allow via the suitability of the names in one's essence, His throne, sovereignty, and administration. Rububiyyah encompasses the heavens and the earth. It is not difficult for Him to preserve them. He is the Ali, illimitable supreme, and the Azim, possessor of infinite might. There is no compulsion in acceptance of the religion, the system, and order of Allah, Sunnatullah. The reality has become apparent in its most perfect state and has become distinct from corrupt ideas. Whoever abandons Taqut, worshipping the forces that don't exist but are assumed to exist through illusion, well, the ones that do exist, the word implies that there are ones that do exist, but they overstate their, they've crossed their boundaries of reality. So in a way, illusion and delusion does apply, and believes in the law, the names that form His essence. Indeed, he has grasped a strong grip within His essence that can never be broken. Allah is the Sami'ah and the Alim. Allah is a friend, Waliyah, to the believers. He brings them out of darkness, ignorance of the reality, into Nur, seeing the reality with the light of knowledge. As for those who actively deny the truth, their friend is Taghut, illusory ideas and forces. It brings them out of Nur into darkness. They are the people of fire, bound to suffer. They will reside therein, the condition of suffering, forever. Did you not see he who argued with Abraham about his Rabb because Allah gave him sovereignty? When Abraham said, "My Rabb is the giver of life and the taker of life," he said, "I can give and take life too." When Abraham said, "Allah raises the sun from the east, go ahead and raise it from the west if you can," the denier, concealer of the reality, was confounded. Allah will not guide, enable the realization of the reality to the people of wrongdoing. Did you not hear about the one who passed by a town in which the buildings were in ruins and the people were dead? He thought, how will Allah restore life here after this death? Allah caused him to die at that instant, and after 100 years brought him back to life. How long did you remain in that state? He asked. The man answered, 1 day or a part of it. Allah said, no, 100 years have passed. Look at your food and your drink. They have not rotted. But look at your donkey, how it has rotted, and only a pile of bones remain. We made you a sign, an example for the people. Look at how we raise the bones and cover them with flesh. When it became clear to him, he said, I know with certainty that Allah is the Qadir over all things. And recall when Abraham said, my Rabb, show me how you give life to the dead. His Rabb said, have you not believed? Abraham said, yes, but for my heart to be satisfied, I want to witness it. Take 4 types of birds and train them so they grow accustomed to you, then place each of them upon 4 different hilltops and call them to yourself. They will come running, applying to you, know that Allah is the Aziz, the Hakim, the example of those who spend their wealth unrequitedly out of their faith in Allah is like a single wheat seed that grows 7 spikes, and each spike 100 grains, and Allah multiplies it even more for whom He wills. Allah is the Wasi'ah and the Alim, the all-encompassing, the all-knowing. Those who, out of their faith in Allah, unrequitedly spend their wealth on people, and who do not remind and taunt people with it later, will have special rewards in the sight of the Rabb. They will have nothing to fear or grieve. A kind word and to cover a fault is better than a charity followed by offense. Allah is the Ghani and the Halim. O believers, do not cancel your charities by taunting and hurting people with it, as do those who spend their wealth only to be seen, to make a name, and do not believe in Allah and the eternal life, to come with the meaning of the letter B. Their example is like a rock covered with some earth, and when it rains, the earth is gone, and the rock is left bare. They will gain nothing from what they earn. Allah does not guide, enable the realization of their essential reality, those who deny the truth. But for those who spend their wealth for Allah's pleasure, the term Allah's pleasure, or for the pleasure of Allah, means to not let one's conditionings limit the manifestations of Allah's names, or due to what they encounter within their own selves, the understanding that they are comprised of the compositions of names. Their example is like a garden on a hilltop. When heavily rain falls on it, it gives double the produce, and if heavy rain does not fall, even a drizzle suffices. Allah is Basir over your actions. Would any of you want to have a garden of date palms and grapevines underneath which rivers flow and in which various fruits grow, but when old age comes, he has weak offspring, then a whirlwind of fire destroys the garden? Allah gives these signs so that you reflect. O believers, give unrequitedly from what you have earned and from the clean things of what we have produced for you from the earth. Do not give in charity bad things that you will not take yourselves. Know well that Allah is the Ghani, the Hamid, self-sufficient, praiseworthy. Satan, illusion, the fear of loss, will scare you with poverty, refraining from giving unrequitedly, and command you to do foul deeds and to be stingy. But Allah promises forgiveness from Him and bounty. Allah is the Wasi'ah, the Alim, the all-encompassing, the all-knowing. He gives wisdom, the system by which the qualities of the names are manifested to whom He wills, and whoever has been given wisdom has certainly been given much benefit, and none will discern this except those with intellect and deep contemplative skills. Whatever you spend and whatever vows you make, Allah knows, makes you live their outcome, but the wrongdoers have no helper. It is good if you give charity openly, but if you keep your charity a secret and give in private, it is better for you. This will atone for your bad deeds. Allah is the Khabir, all aware of what you do, as He comprises your being. It is not your responsibility to make them find the right path, realize the reality of their essence. Allah guides, enables this realization to whom He wills, as this entails the expression of the name Hadi within one's essence, not some form of external guidance. Whatever you spend in charity, it is for your own good, as you do not but give for the sake of Allah, knowing and seeing the face of Allah. But whatever good you give, it will be fully repaid to you, and you will never be wronged. But isn't part of the translation. Your unrequited giving is for the needy who have fully submitted themselves to the way of Allah without sparing any time to work for worldly sustenance, and because they refrain from asking, one who has no insight into their situation would think they are wealthy. But you will recognize them from their faces. They will never shamelessly ask for something from another. Thus, whatever good you give, surely Allah is alim of it. Those who give from their wealth by night and by day, in secret and in the open, their reward is with their Rabb, emerging from their essence and ready to manifest in their consciousness. They have nothing to fear or grieve. Those who commit usury will stand like those who've been obsessed with delusive ideas by Satan. Jinn, fire beings, the devil of the fire beings. This is because they equate usury to trade, and extra insurance to collect more than you paid is another form of it. Well, unlawful increase of any sort is included in the word riba. Whereas Allah has permitted trade and forbidden usury. In trade, one pays the value of the good, but with usury, one pays exceedingly more than the money originally owed. Well, or any of the other example, if you're paying back more than the dollar of the year that you paid, or you're paying back the money and not regarding, I want to be paid back in $2020, whether that goes up and down in terms of the physical dollar money, Hence, usury is contrary to the idea of unrequited helping and giving. Well, it's 2024 when I'm recording this, but you know what I mean. Probably said that 4 years ago. So, whoever abandons usury after receiving admonition from his Rabb, his past belongs to him, his judgment will be with Allah. And whoever reverts to usury, they are the inmates of fire. They will abide therein eternally. Allah destroys income from usury and increases the return of charity. Allah does not favor those who persist in their mistakes, those who believe and perform the necessary beneficial deeds, establish salat, orisons, and give zakah, the purifying charity, will have special rewards with their Rabb. They will have nothing to fear or grieve. O believers, abandon the excess from usury to be protected from Allah if you are of the believers. And if you don't do this, know that you will have waged war against Allah and His Rasul. If you recognize your mistake and abandon it for good, you can earn your right to receive your principal. This way, you won't wrong and you won't be wronged. If the indebted is in financial hardship, then grant them respite until a time of ease. If you write it off as an act of charity, it will be better for you if you only knew. Protect yourselves from the day when you shall be returned to Allah, that is, when every soul shall be paid in full what it has earned, and they will not be wronged. O believers, when you contract a debt for a specified time, write it down. Let a just person among you write it, and let the one who knows how to write not refuse to write as Allah has taught him. Let the one who has the liability, the indebted one, dictate. Let him fear his Rabb, Allah, and let not leave anything out. If the indebted one is of limited understanding or a child, let his guardian dictate. Let 2 men be witnesses. If there aren't 2 men, then let the witnesses be 1 man and 2 women. If one of them forgets or errs, the other one can remind. And let not the witnesses refuse when they are called upon, and do not be weary to write the debt, whether it is small or large, including its specified term that is more appropriate and stronger in the sight of Allah, and a more sound approach to prevent doubt in the future, except when a transaction between you involves cash, and there is no blame upon you if you do not write it, and take witnesses, even when you make a transaction. Let no scribe be harmed, or any witness, for if you harm them, you would have harmed yourself, and be protected from Allah. Allah teaches you. Allah is alim, knowing over all things. And so, see, it doesn't say that the testimony of a woman is half that of a man. It doesn't say anything like it. It says that a woman has this advantage, and one woman alone, her testimony will be equal to a man if there's, if it says complete in the matter, right? Another woman being brought forward to, fill in the gaps or confirm the testimony. And the same thing can be done, you can have extra witnesses, than what is minimally needed. If you are traveling and cannot find a scribe, pledges may be taken in word. If you trust each other, let the trustee restore the pledge faithfully, and let him fear his rub. Do not conceal what you have witnessed. Whoever conceals his testimony, indeed his heart is guilty, unable to reflect its essence, veiled from its reality. Allah knows what you do in the scope of the letter B. Whatever is in the heavens and the earth belongs to Allah to manifest His names. Whether you show what is within your consciousness, your thoughts, or conceal it, Allah will bring you to account for it with the quality of the name Hasib. He will forgive, cover whom He wills, and cause suffering upon whom He wills. Allah is Qadr over all things. The Rasul, Muhammad, peace of God and blessings be upon him. And, well, blessings isn't quite literal for Salam Allahu Salam. It's the prayers upon are benedictions because of the influence to pray coming back upon, and the favor of God being reflected by, the creation that prays for the prophet, that has believed in what was revealed, knowledge that emerged from the dimensional depths to him, to his consciousness, from his Rabb, the qualities of the names of Allah comprising his essential reality, and so have the believers. They have all believed in line with the meaning denoted by the letter B, that the names of Allah comprise their essence, and in the angels, the forces of names constituting their being, the books, or revealed knowledge, and the Rasuls. Rasulah, is that how it is in that verse? The exemplar prophets, they say, we make no distinction between the ways in which the knowledge of Allah was revealed to His messenger prophets. We have perceived and obeyed, and we ask you for your forgiveness. Our Rabb, our return is to you. Allah will never hold anyone responsible for that which they have no capacity. What He earns as a result of His good deeds is for Himself, and the consequences of His bad deeds is also for Himself. Our Rabb, do not punish us if we forget or make a mistake. Our Rabb, do not place upon us heavy duties like the ones You placed on those before us. Our Rabb, do not place on us a burden we cannot bear. Pardon us, forgive us, have grace on us. You are our protector. Give us victory over those who cover the reality, disbelievers, and deny You.